Hi everybody, I'm Stage Tech Marine, and in this video I'm going to show you how to count cards when you're playing blackjack in a casino. Now, card counting is 100% legal. However, the casinos do prefer you do not do it in their house, and they do reserve the right to ask you to leave at any time for any reason. So that being said, let's get on down to the table and I'll show you the basics of how to count cards. Each card in the deck is assigned a value. A 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 have a value of 1. A 7, 8, 9 have a value of 0. And a 10, Jack, Queen, King, and Ace have a value of -1, or we say M1. Now that you know the value of each card, we're going to put it into practice. I have here in my hand a standard 52 card deck. And when you're counting, one thing to know is that the deck will start and end at 0. And you're going to be adding the value of the cards, as I just showed you, together, and your count's going to go up and it's going to go down. Okay, so we're going to do that right now. These have already been shuffled, but I'll shuffle them again. And deck starting at 0, we're going to reveal our first card, okay? 8, and 8 is a 0 valued card, so our count is still 0. 10 is a -1 or M1 card, so 0 plus an M1, our count is now -1 or M1. A king is another M1 card, so an M1 plus an M1 is an M2. 7 is 0, so our count is still at M2. Queen is an M1 card, so an M2 plus an M1 is M3, and you can see how we're going down. That's a +1 card, so an M3 plus 1, we're up to M2. +1 is M1, down to M2, still at M2. You see how this is going? Still at M2, M3, M4, M5, still at M5, up to M4, up to M3, down to M4, down to M5, still at M5, up to M4, down to M5, down to M6, up to M5, up to M4, still at M4, up to M3, M4, M5, M4, M5, M6, M7, still at M7. We're at M7. That's a pretty low count, so you know there's going to be a lot of little cards that are going to bring the value back up to 0. We're at M7. There's M6, still at M6, M5, M6, still at M6, M5, still at M5, M4, oh, here it goes, M3, M2, M3, M2, M1, back up to 0, still got a couple cards left, 1, 0, M1, 0. I got one card left. So in order for the deck to remain at 0, this card needs to be a 7, 8, or 9. That was a correct count. The deck started at 0, it ended at 0. Now, did you see during that one moment our count was down to M7? I said, hey, we got some small cards that are going to be coming out because they got to bring the count back to 0. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're paying attention to. When you have a positive count, when your count is +6, +7, +8 on a single deck game, you know that if you're at +8, there's going to be a lot of 10s, jacks, queens, kings, and aces that need to get played to bring the count down. So when your count is high is when you're going to increase your bet. I hope that was a good example for you. We're going to do the same thing again right now, but with a close-up of the cards so you can see the cards better. So these have already been shuffled. I'm going to take one card off the top, put it to the side, and we're going to find out if we're right on which card that is at the end. So here we go. I'm not going to stop and explain. I'm just going to run through the cards. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, M1, 0, M1, M2, M3, M3, M2, M2, M3, M2, M3, M3, M2, M2, M3, M4, M3, M2, M3, M2, M1, 0, M1, 0, 1, 0, M1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1. So this card is the last card. If our count is 1, this should be a face card. 10, Jack, Queen, King, or Ace to bring this deck down to 0. Our count is complete at 0. Now I'm going to show you a drill that I call the fanning drill. What you do is you take your deck of cards, shuffle them up, remove one card off the top, place it aside, and you're going to turn the cards over, look at them. And you're going to be fanning the cards across your hands, counting the cards as they go. This is going to help you learn to ignore the 0 value cards, 7, 8, and 9. And it's going to help you learn how to have a positive 1 card and an M1 card cancel themselves out so you don't have to worry about counting. You don't have to have your count going up and down as often. So here we go. We're going to fan through and hopefully we'll get down to 0 when we add this card at the end. Here we go. Looking for card pairs. Well, we ignore that 7 right off the top. The ace and the 2 cancel each other out, so we're still at 0. The 3 and the 5 bring us up to 2. Jack 2 cancel out, we're still at 2. 4 and 10 cancel out, we're still at 2. 10, 2 cancels out, we're still at 2. Jack 4 cancels out, we're still at 2. Queen and the 10, M2, brings us down to 0. Jack 3 cancels out, still at 0. 6, Jack cancels out, we're still at 0. Queen and Ace brings us down to M2. 6, 6 brings us up to 2, 0. And the 4, 2 is going to bring us up to 2. King, King is going to bring us down to 0. And the King 3 keeps us at 0. The 10 Ace is going to bring us down to M2. And the Ace 3 is going to keep us at M2. The Queen 4 cancels out, we're still at M2. The King Queen brings us down to M4. 5, 5 brings us up to M2. And then this 5 will bring us up to M1. So at the end of the deck, we're right here at M1. So in order for this deck to be back at 0, this card needs to be a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 to bring us back up to 0. We did it right. That's the fanning drill. Okay, now that you've done the fanning drill and you've learned how to count multiple cards at once, I'm going to simulate a very rough face-up blackjack game. I'm not going to play the game properly. I'm not going to worry about hitting and all that kind of thing. I'm just going to lay the cards out and show you what it's actually going to look like. So, basic face-up game with 3 hands. It's going to look something like this. And what I do is I wait for the second card to come out for the hand before I count. That way I can count these 2 cards together. Okay? So here our count is 1, and we're at 0. And we're at 2, we're at M1. Okay, so our count at this point is M1, so now you're going to count these cards as they come out. So there's 2, 3, 3, and then make sure you count the correct one, okay? 2, and there we go when we pay. I don't even know what I've got here. Like I said, I'm just throwing the cards down. So we're at 2. Our count is 2. And then we're going to do the next hand. Count is 2, and we're adding those together. We're still at 2, and we're at 4, and we're still at 4, and we're at 3. And then they're going to do what they do, 3, so there's 4, 5, and this card comes out. We're still at 5, now we're at 4, and this card comes out, and now we're at 5, and now we're at 6. Count the right card. Still at 6. And then they pay, and they pay, and they pay. So, for a count of 6 on a single deck game, that's actually pretty good. So, you're going to be looking for lots of face cards to come out. So, at this point, with a count of 6 or 8 on a single deck game, increase your bets. So, here we go. Lots of face cards coming out because why? It has to bring the deck down to 0. It has to equalize. So, for a count of 6, still at 6. We're at 4. Still at 4. So our count's 4, and this person's going to do whatever they do. 4, and then, oh, he's not going to hit, but whatever. 4. So that brings us down to 3, and that brings us up to 4, 5, 4. So then they pay out, they pay out, they pay out. So our count is at 4. But that's basically what you're looking at. I don't know if I have enough to do another hand here. So our count's 4. Ooh, 4. So that brings us down to 2. It brings us up to 3. And that stays at 3. We're still at 3. He gets paid. 3 brings us down to 2. We doubled down. He's going to stay. Now he'll hit. We're at 2, so we're at 1. Bye. Our count's at 1. Our count is at 0. Blah, 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 blah. So 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. So we played that right. Again, that I wasn't playing to win there. I was just flipping cards over so you could know what cards to count together. And we'll do another quick one just so you can see. Not really playing, just showing you the procedure. So we'll play 3 hands here. I'm not even doing the same thing every time, I know that. Okay, so there's 2, 1, and M1, 0. He's going to play a card. Now we're at 1, we're at 2. Well, he wouldn't do that, but he did that. 3, 2, 1. Our count is 1. Our count is 2, is 0, still at 0, M1, M2, M1, M2, M1, 0, 0. Our count is at 0. And we're waiting. We're at 0. And we're at 1. We're at 0. We're still at 0. We're at M1. We're at M1. We're at M2. We're still at M2. We're at M1. We're at M2. M2, we're M1, still at M1. Here we go. Still at M1. And here we go, last hand, M1, still at M1, still at M1, M2, M1, still at M1, still at M1, M0. We're at 0, and there's M1, 0, M1, 0. So we're done. We went through the cards twice. We held our count. You could see when to count. Deck starts and ends at 0. That's how you're going to do a face-up game. Counting into a blackjack game where you actually hold the cards is a little more difficult. You need to pay serious attention when the player mucks their cards. So, as you know, it's going to look something like this. Person's going to look at, they're going to take their cards. Person's going to look at their cards and they're going to hit, or they're going to tuck their cards and they're going to stay. Well, if they're going to take a hit, you count the hit cards as they come out. Count them as they come out. When the player busts and they muck the cards in because they're out, the dealer will pick up the cards, will show them, and at that point, that's when you have to count them. And then they'll pick up all the cards, discard them. So this person's going to hit, boom, count the cards as they come out on the hit. Oh, they busted. Dealer's going to take the cards, reveal them, take them away. This person's going to stay in. The dealer's going to, okay, and then they're going to reveal, count them as they get revealed. And they're going to pay or take away or whatever they do. It's very important. If you miss the dealer revealing mucked cards and you lose your count, keep them at minimum bets until you can regain your count. And how do you regain your count? Well, you got to wait for the shuffle. So don't ever lose your count. That's what, for this reason, I definitely prefer to play a face-up game because it's a lot easier to see. You don't have to wait to see what people are, what they're mucking and when it gets revealed. So keep that in mind. You may enjoy playing the holding the card game, which is totally fine. Just pay attention when those cards are mucked, and that's the key to it. In closing, I'd just like to remind you of a couple things, a couple rules here. Number one, never show that you're counting cards. Don't talk about it. Don't lead anybody to believe that that's what you're doing. Number two, well, actually, should be number one. Don't ever lose the count. Very important. If you think that the count may be 5 or 6, but you're not sure, always go with the worst possibility. Go with the 5. Do not play tables that have the automatic shufflers that are constantly shuffling because the count will be at 0 every time they deal, and that's no good for you. The best odds that you have of winning, the best game you can play, is single deck, you against the dealer. Just you, just the dealer. Double deck games are not too bad. They're easy to count into. And the 6-deck shoes are possible. It takes a lot of concentration. So when you're counting, you need to have a lot of practice before you go on your trip. You got to make sure that you can carry on a conversation with people, that you can smile, that you can act natural, that you can laugh and have your drink and be social. That will keep anybody away from thinking that you're counting cards. You must practice. Another tip on the face-up games, when they're putting the cards down, if you sit at the first base or the third base position, your point of view is basically all the cards are in one straight line, so it's easy to count up and down the line. If you sit here in the middle of the table, every time they deal, you're going to be doing this whole thing, and it looks like you're just incredibly concentrating on what's happening. So pay attention to that. So thank you so much for watching. I really have a great time making these videos. I appreciate your support. You can find me on Twitch at Stage Tech Marine. Of course, I'm here on YouTube at Stage Tech Marine. Thank you so much. Good luck. Go out there, and I hope it works for you.